Is this the true beginning of the Dennis Schröder era in Golden State? After a humiliating 51-point loss to the Memphis Grizzlies and dropping 8 out of their last 10 games, the Warriors finally bounced back. Led by the brilliance of Steph Curry and the rising impact of Schröder, Golden State just sent a message to the NBA. The message was a clear one, and it's about how the Warriors intend to play moving forward. Even without Draymond Green, who was replaced by Kyle Anderson, the team returned to their signature style that got them wins early in the season, playing with hustle and intensity. It was clear in this game versus Minnesota that the Warriors made defense their top priority, completely shutting down Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. Both Ant and Randle struggled mightily, with Edwards shooting just 6 of 20 from the floor, and Randle an even worse 4 of 13, scoring under 20 points each. After back-to-back games where the Warriors allowed over 140 points, it was obvious the Warriors were determined to tighten things up on defense. And they succeeded, holding the Timberwolves to just 103 points, a standout accomplishment in today's high-scoring NBA. To start the game and across really the entire match, Trayce Jackson-Davis completely owned Rudy Gobert, as he appeared to be just too quick for Rudy, outrunning him in transition, beating him to rebounds, blocking his shots, and even dunking on him. Coach Steve Kerr said that he believes TJD is the best finisher on the team, and when he's making plays like this, who's going to say that he's wrong? He got a late call up to be a starter in this game, but with the way he played, I think he should be there permanently, as he gave the team great energy right from the opening tip. The first half of this game defensively from Golden State was elite, as they were able to keep the Wolves down. But in the third quarter, capped off by an 8-point streak by Naz Reid, Minnesota scored 38 points in that term, outscoring Golden State by 9. At this moment, it looked like the Warriors might just concede this game, given their poor record in the clutch as of late. As over the Warriors' last 9 clutch games, they've gone 2-7, and a lot of that has to do with the double teams on Steph and Curry, which we'll get into more deeply later in the video. But right as you thought the Warriors were going to concede, here comes Steph Curry, as he completely put this team on his back late in that fourth quarter. First, off a TJD screen, which completely loses McDaniels, Steph is able to walk into an open triple. Now GP2 comes up to give Curry a screen, which gets in the switch on Julius Randle, and Steph makes the Wolves defense pay, pulling up on a deep 3. Now this was a great offensive possession from Golden State, as off the same ball screen action, Minnesota now blitz Curry, so he'll just make the pass to Trayce Jackson-Davis on the roll, and from there the ball zips around the perimeter to get right back to Curry, leaving the Wolves defense in shambles, and Curry gets an open look. I thought the Warriors found both their offense and defense in this game, as this is a glimpse of what this team should be able to produce every single night. But getting more into that defense, Andrew Wiggins in particular was sensational, and this snatch block on Julius Randle toward the end of the game was just the icing on the cake. Wiggins put the clamps on Minnesota, and the Warriors needed every bit of defense he could give them. He looks like he's back to his 2022 form, where he was a crucial piece to the puzzle in them winning that championship. On both sides of the ball, Wiggins has been a plus for the Golden State Warriors this season, which is something they haven't been able to say for the last couple. But when he's playing his best basketball, giving them great minutes on both sides of the ball, there's no doubt that he's a perfect fit to the Warriors puzzle. On the season, he's giving the Dubs 17.4 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 1 steal, with fantastic shooting splits of 46% from the field, 44% from deep, and 78% from the free throw line. But I think he could genuinely be the Warriors' second best player right now. But the guy that has the real potential to become that second best player is the guy they just traded for, Dennis Schröder. Dennis Schröder was just traded to Golden State for the injured DeAnthony Melton, who himself played a massive role for this Warriors team on both sides of the ball. His backcourt combination with Curry had the Warriors boasting numbers the NBA has never seen before. Steve Kerr called the combination of Melton and Curry in the backcourt as a perfect fit, and the stats agreed, as they had an offensive rating in the 140s and a defensive rating in the 90s, which is absolutely out of this world. But once he went down with a season-ending ACL injury, a trade had to be made, and this one makes perfect sense when you consider that the Warriors aren't giving anything up this season because Melton's out for the season. Although Dennis Schröder isn't close to the three-point shooting that Melton is, he makes up for it with his ball handling and playmaking abilities, while still being a great defensive player. On paper, the fit of Schröder is one that should be a suitable fit, as he has the potential to fix some glaring weaknesses to the roster, that being what they do in the clutch. As I mentioned earlier, the Warriors' record in clutch games this season has been horrendous, and a lot of that has to do with the double teams sent to Curry. Teams are recognizing Steph Curry's ability to completely take over a game down the stretch, while also recognizing that nobody else on the roster can really do anything. So teams have started just doubling Steph in the clutch and living with the results. However, teams are no longer going to be able to just live with those results because of Schröder being a high-level playmaker, especially in the pick and roll, along with being able to get his own shot off. With Brooklyn, he was having one of his best seasons in the NBA, putting up 18.4 points, 6.6 assists, and 1.1 steals, with shooting splits of 45% from the field, 39% from three, and 89% from the free throw line. With the Nets trying to lose games to get themselves a higher draft pick, he ended up being dealt because he was playing too good, as he was leading a terrible roster to wins, with one of those victories coming against this Golden State Warriors team that they beat on their home floor back in late November. Now, we should all be aware that Dennis Schröder is not going to get the same level of opportunity that he was getting with Brooklyn, especially now that he's not the focal point. However, I believe he could still make a huge impact. Offensively, his scoring isn't going to be anywhere close to what it was with Brooklyn, as he's simply not going to get that many shots. But I do believe his playmaking, especially with someone like Trace Jackson-Davis or Jonathan Kuminga in those pick and rolls, is going to be a weapon for the Warriors offensively. Personally, I think the fit of Dennis Schröder feels like the Chris Paul one all over again, but this time with his ability to get his own shot off and play elite level defense. The only thing I believe he's really lacking and could be exposed is his ability to knock down catch and shoot three-pointers. DeAnthony Melton was amazing at doing this, but I just don't think Dennis Schröder is going to be able to provide that same kind of efficiency. The Warriors have started Dennis Schröder in these first two games, and they intend to keep doing so, mainly because they don't have many other options. Starting Buddy Hield alongside Curry would lead to a terrible defensive backcourt, with both plays being cones on defense. Although there are definitely positives to what Schröder brings to the team, there's also clear negatives. So the question will be whether those positives can outweigh the negatives, or will his lack of an ability to make open catch and shoot three-pointers hurt the team too much. Either way, the Warriors are going to need to be active at the trade deadline, as I still believe they need to make another move to legitimately give themselves a chance for title contention. As much potential that the young guys like Kuminga and Podziemski do have, the Warriors need to make a decision because Steph Curry's not getting any younger. He's a lot closer to the end of his career than he is to the start, and he's still playing some of the best basketball of his career. In my opinion, the Warriors need to either trade the young guys to get pieces to legitimately contend for a title now, or keep them around and give them more minutes, as they come to grips that they're not going to win another championship. Golden State can't keep walking the tightrope because they're just wasting everyone's time. Not only are they not putting enough minutes into the young guys to properly develop them, but they're also not giving Steph a proper send-off, as I believe they're doing virtually nothing right now. The decision I would make is pretty clear. Trade the young guys, as you've got a top 10 player in the NBA who's still giving you amazing minutes, and there's no doubt that Steph is still good enough to be a number one option on a championship team. But these are just my takes. How do you like the fit with Dennis Schröder on the Golden State Warriors, and which decision would you make for this team's future this season? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments section below.